competition looking out there?
Everything's going good. I'm really pleased with how they've picked it up and brought it from the spring through the summer and into camp. You know, it's still early, obviously, but I think the guys have bought into what we're doing, and it looks good.
Is Michael your definite number 2, and then who would be a definite number 3?
I don't say anything definite, but you know, like I said, all of them are playing good. I'm really proud of all of them so far.
What's the plan for DeCarrion and Jay in the scrimmage, and how important will that be for them to see live action?
Well, obviously for young guys, it's important to show what they can do. We'll get together as a staff beforehand, obviously, and come up with the final decision exactly how we'll play them.
How's DeCarrion looked thus far now that you're in live action?
Good. Like I said, I'm really proud of all the guys. I mean, he's still young, and as Jay is, and they're still learning things and make young guy mistakes every now and then. But the thing I like is when they make a mistake, they bounce right back and learn from it and move on.
What makes a good deep ball thrower?
If it's really accurate. I mean, I don't know the answer. I mean, recruit good guys who can throw it really good. There's really it's not like you coach it and say there's a certain term that tells them how to do it. Either you got it or you don't. And I feel like our guys have done a good job. And with the receivers we have, I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on the defenses.
Arm strength, feel, vision?
Well, all of those, obviously. I mean, you have to have the strength to get it out there, first of all. But, again, that's something when we recruit, you go out and find guys that you feel like you watch them in camps and things like that and see that they can do it, and those are the guys you go after.
Dan, when a quarterback comes in and say he's been throwing one way his whole life, how much do you guys try to tinker with his throwing style, or do you?
I don't mess with a throwing motion almost at all. In my mind, again, when I go out and recruit a guy, if I recruit a guy that I got to fix his throwing motion, I probably recruited the wrong guy. Now, my big thing is I'm going to work on their feet to get them balanced, make sure they're in position to throw, and obviously, you know, with the reads and all the different things that they have to decision making.
You mentioned that all the quarterbacks have done well at taking what they learned in the spring. Specifically, with Jake, what have you seen from him that he took in the spring and carried into the fall?
I think the big thing we worked on with him is getting his feet right. You know, I think he got caught a few times last year making a bad throw because he was a little off balance. So we really talked about standing upright and being balanced. You know, a lot of the stuff we do when you have these quick throws, the RPOs and stuff, it sort of lends to keeping you off balance. So he's really worked hard on his own to get that fixed.
What intrigues you about the potential of this offense?
I look at it, I mean, our offensive line is solid. You know, guys coming back from last year along with the newer guys. I look at the quarterbacks, obviously, I'm happy with. We've got big-time receivers. The running backs are good. The tight ends, I mean, I see a lot of weapons. And our job now as coaches is to figure out how to get those guys the ball. And I think with this scheme, we're going to be able to do that.
What percentage would you say, and we talked about this with BMAC earlier, but what percentage would you say was total rebuild or doing things that you had existing done better?
I don't know what the percentage is, but I mean, 50-50 maybe, I don't know. But a lot of the stuff is things that I've done in my past, things that BMAC wanted to do but, you know, didn't last year. But there's a lot of stuff carry over from last year, too, because there was a lot of good plays that we had in. And what we sort of did is went through and talked about what the players like, what we liked from last year, keep that, and then what do we know that we need to add to it.
What has it been like working with BMAC, and what do you think makes him a good young coach?
It's been awesome. That was one of the things when I came here, you know, I wanted to make sure that I got with him, made sure we were a good fit, and it's been, like I said, it's been really good. The thing is with him, he's not only smart, but he's very demanding, and the players respect him. So you put all that together and you're a good football coach.
Dan, a little
jump in comfort with the offense and knowledge of the offense did you see from the end of spring to kind of the start of fall camp?
You mean, have we gotten more?
I mean, did guys sort of take and process what they did in the spring and kind of use that, you know, and maybe come in with a certain level of more crispness and comfort?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. You figure they learned it. We had install before the spring where you can't really practice it, but we can teach it to them. Then we had the spring practice. Then in the summer, they take all that stuff and they do their players run practices, and they're out there doing it every day and just keep getting better and better. Now, obviously, the coaches aren't out there, so it's not like we can coach them, but at least they're doing it and they're getting in their head, okay, on this route, this is what I have. And now we get them to where we can start coaching them again. Now we can teach them exactly how to do it and really fine-tune it.
Are there any guys where you kind of looked at them and you're like, wow, that guy really picked up a lot, since the last time I actually got to work with him?
I can't think of anybody in particular because, like I said, it just seems like everybody's progressing.
Dan, a little off topic here, but the statistic wins by a quarterback. Do you think that's a fair or unfair stat, considering it's really just the guy that starts and he may get knocked out in the first play, but he would still get credit if the team won?
I mean, the fact that a quarterback, if he wins a lot of games, that means a lot to me. I'll go back to the recruiting. When I recruit a guy, obviously I want him to throw and do all that. Now, if he's playing on just a bad team and he happens to be unlucky to be on a bad team, but I always look at a guy who's winning a bunch of ball games. I sort of like them on my team.
Have defenses, what have defenses done to start reacting to the RPOs now as the prevalence of them increases?
Well, everybody has different ideas on it.
Yeah.
It's the old saying with coaches is whoever has the chalk last wins. So,
Right.
They're going to say, well, we're going to do this to stop this, and we're going to say, well, we're going to do this. So it's a constant chess match.
Right.
And that's what football is.
Do you feel like that RPO, if run correctly, is indefensible? Is that fair to say?
I don't know that indefensible. That's what we try to get our players to believe. I mean,
Right.
I always tell the quarterbacks, if you make the right decision, it's going to be really hard on the defense. Now, we've got to make the plays. It may be the perfect read and perfect defense, but we still got to throw and catch it. Or if they are playing the perfect defense and hand it off, we still got to block the people and all the different things. I mean, it all boils down to blocking and tackling and throwing and catching.
When you've got two older guys who are a little bit, maybe a little more pro style is not exactly the right word, but not quite as mobile as some of the younger guys, does that create sort of a different dynamic in kind of going through practice and stuff, or is that maybe beneficial to some of the younger guys because they have to learn certain things that they might not necessarily be comfortable with?
We're going in running our offense,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that the older guys obviously do this type of stuff that we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If it were to get to where there were issues or situations where we need the younger guys maybe, then obviously you would start tweaking it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do what's best for your team, And the great thing about this scheme is I feel like whether you have an athletic guy, a pro-style guy, we've got in our package plays that they can all run.
So if the carry-on were put into one of those packages, there wouldn't be too much adjustment of what you guys want to run with
Right.
under center.
Right.
Dan, how much do you talk to Jake about his leadership abilities and being more of a leader, or is he so ingrained in that it's not?
He's about as good as I've been with. So, we talk about it, just how to do it. Some guys you have to force them to do it.
Yeah.
They just don't have that personality. With him, he's going to do it. It's just a matter of, and every now and then I'll say, hey, let's be really positive with them today. Even when they make a mistake, man, just be positive. Get them to buy in. Other times I'll say, hey, it's time you got to get on him a little bit. But really not much because he's really good at that.
With the carry-on, do you notice, does he trust his arm more now that he's kind of getting himself in, or is he trusting his athleticism too much? Is there a breakdown there with that?
No, I don't see. I mean, I think he feels good about himself, and he's throwing the ball well and doing a good job. It's not like he's tucking the ball and running every time. Like I said, it's hard for me to say how he feels, but I definitely see a progression.
Do you check your guys' iPads and you get a report on how much they're watching out of the office, so to speak?
No, I probably could,
Right.
but these guys, I don't have to worry about that with these guys.
feel good about that.
In my mind, if I've got to check on guys that really want to be great, I've recruited the wrong guy.
How much time should a quarterback spend of his own looking at film, outside of what you demand, that's mandatory, so to speak?
There is no cap.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's the floor? Is it 10 hours a week? Is it
I think it's when you get, what I tell them is when you get home, we've already gone through it on the field, in the meeting room. Then afterwards, we go through it again. So when you get home, you've got to go through and just look at the plays and see how you feel about them. Maybe something that you did today that we talked about in practice. Well, let's go through and just put, with those iPads, they can pull up all the different plays that we run throughout the camp. So say on one certain route, he didn't read it very good today, he can go back and look at all of them again. So, they're going to stay on top of it. That's one thing. Like I said, I don't have to worry about that.
How important are deep balls in this offense, and have you seen Jake kind of progress with that and what he's been able to do?
It's very important because we want to stretch the defense. We want to make sure that they understand they have to cover the whole field. And so, I mean, that's going to be a huge part of our offense. with the guys that we have, I tell Jake, look, if you just get it out there, they're probably going to make a play for you. And I think he's bought into that. And he's, I don't know how it went last year, but I feel really good about it right now.
What other quarterback that you've worked with in the past does Jake remind you of most?
I don't know. I don't really like to compare guys. I mean, each guy is his own guy, and I just know this: there are no negatives. I mean, he comes to work every day wanting to be a leader, wanting to work hard, just begging for information. He's always the first one there, the last one to leave. Now he's just got carried over the field.
When you look at it, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
Decision making, would you rank that maybe his strongest asset right now, or where do you rank his strengths?
I think it's really good, and that's in this offense now. Back in the old days, you may have a run play where there's no decision. Take the snap and you hand it to that guy. That's your only job. Anybody could do it. In ours, it's every single play, even a run play. He's either going to have to read an end, read a backer. He may have to throw it. I mean, every play there's a decision to be made. So it's puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But when you do it, obviously a lot of good things happen.
And is that trust level where you would like it to be right now?
No doubt. No doubt.
Is there a baseline for touchdown to interception ratio that you think is sort of you got to be there if you're going to be playing where you're supposed to be playing? It's got to be 3 to 1, whatever.
I don't really go by that because sometimes some teams come in and they decide we get down in tight red zone, we're going to throw it every play.
Right.
And they're going to have a bunch of touchdown passes.
Right.
I just want low interceptions. That's what I want.
When you look at Jake's, I assume you've charted all of that. Has there been a theme that you've seen? Is there one thing, or is it footwork here and a bad break there, et cetera, et cetera?
When it comes to it, you're talking about with interceptions?
With Jake's interceptions specifically.
When it comes to an interception, of course, everybody thinks it's the quarterback.
Right.
But if you go through in history, it's going to be sometimes the receiver doesn't do the right thing, sometimes the line doesn't do the right thing. You get unlucky, the ball gets tipped, sometimes it's a bad throw, sometimes, there's a lot of different things that can happen. So we break down what we do today and talk about, okay, if you did throw an interception, let's figure out why and let's fix it.
You feel good about his ball security, mindset, and performance.
Yeah, and that's one thing we talk about every day.
Right.
I mean, that's number one on our list of plan to win is protect the ball.
Right.
So
How tough is it with a new staff to kind of simulate the decision-making that takes place during a game, heat of the moment, not just with the coaching staff, but communication with the quarterback?
Well, it's not hard. I mean, we're putting them in different situations, just like it's a game every single day. So, like today, we had, all the different situations that we would put them in, whether it's red zone, third downs, whatever. So we'll let them do it. Then afterwards, we get together, watch it on film, and say, okay, now this is 3rd and 3. Your first progression's covered, so let's go ahead and work to the next one, and that'll get us the first down. And, every scenario that could possibly come up.
Will Muschamp has said multiple times that he thinks Brian McClendon is a future head coach. In your short time with him, is that something you see, and what traits does he have that you think will lend himself to that?
There's no doubt in my mind, and that was just what I said earlier. I mean, he's smart, he's hardworking, he's demanding of the players. The players have bought into what he does. I mean, obviously we need to go out and win a bunch of games, and that'll help that cause.
Do you know how the mechanics of play calling will work with you guys on game day, your role?
B-Mac will call the plays.
And how much conversation, how much input, any idea that you'll have into that?
Whatever he needs me to do, I'm here to help him. That's what my job is.
Are you going to be field or booth?
I'll be in the booth.
Do you feel like DeCarian has taken a step forward in terms of his throwing from the start of spring to kind of this point?
Yeah, no doubt.
What have you kind of seen him sort of work on and improve there?
The footwork part of it obviously is big, but I mean I can just see every day he's getting better and better, and we'll see where he goes.
How does this receiver group compare to some others that you've seen?
It's up there with the best ones I've had, and I've been really lucky to have some great ones. So I'm really, really excited, and that's what I tell the quarterbacks every day. And we talked earlier about decision making. You don't have to force a ball thinking that, man, this is my chance to get a big play, because with these guys, they're going to make plays for you all the time. So if you don't have something, throw it away. Next play, throw it out there, and they'll go make a play for you.
Scar was saying that that they have more of a green light to throw the deep ball this year. Have you seen a progression for their willingness? Was there some hesitancy early to throw some, but maybe back in the spring, and they've become more willing to do that now?
Maybe a little bit early, but and again, my thing is always look. They have to know the situation, so we may call the same exact play on first down, and I'm telling them, throw that ball deep. If you got a chance, it's 1-on-1, throw it deep. We'll call the same play on 3rd and 3, and now we got to understand I don't want to throw it deep. Now I got to get the first down. So I think that's the big thing that I've been working on is knowing when to take your shots, when not to.
Has that always kind of been a tenet of offense? Just say we've got the 1-on-1, we think our guy's better, we can go get it, or is that it's obviously been an emphasis in a lot of modern offenses? Is it just the history of the game, or?
I don't know. I mean, I think now, at least my philosophy is, for us to really be good on offense, you have to take shots. And you play against really good defenses. You're probably not going to drive it 3 and 4 yards a pop and drive down the field 80 yards for a touchdown. So any chance we get, like I said, and depending on the down and distance situation, we're going to take our shots. Some people believe in that, some don't.